What's
Like,
happening?
I'm all right, buddy. Busy. You?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit sick today, but it's not um it's not actual sickness, it's 420 sickness. So it's a
Oh,
little bit different.
wow.
It's a little different.
Wow.
I
Wow.
did a show on Monday night and at a weed club, and weed clubs are it's a whole different thing. You forget your jokes. Like the whole room is filled with smoke. and
Yeah, I
it's
can only
and it's
imagine now.
it's overpowering. Like, you don't even have to get high, you just get high. And the my throat was so dry at the end of the night from talking and from everything, and I only did like 10 minutes, but I had to wait, an hour
Wow.
to do my spot. And we're in the green room, and the smoke's flowing through the green room with all the other comics back there, and a lot of them don't even smoke. And then I'm
Right.
just like, I go out and I'm like, okay, you start. I'm like, I'm ambitious, right? So I'm like, I'm going to tell some new jokes tonight. That was dumb. I get halfway through one of my new jokes, and I just said to them, I'm like, I fucking forgot where I was going with this joke. And they love it when you are so high you forget your jokes. So you just tell them, I'm so high I forgot my joke. They laugh, and they love it when you forget. So you just tell them the truth. I forgot. And then, and then I just. I like you kind of have to revert to the jokes that you've told like 100 times because you know them backwards and forwards, and so I fell back to that. I got a couple new ones out before I just fucking went off the rails. And then and I got home and I felt so sick. And then yesterday I felt it, like I felt sick from being there.
Physically
Dry
sick.
throat, sinuses, everything, just like fucking. And today I'm just kind of on the tail end of it. So like
Wow.
I didn't get sick. I just fucking, inhaled 3,000 joints worth of smoke that night. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But I
I
bought
can't
this.
imagine it, because it's like we just don't have anything like that over here. It's fucked up.
I know it's a weird anomaly because a lot of places have legal weed, but not a lot of places have these clubs where people smoke inside. And it's a crazy concept. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like,
Yeah.
like I think it's cool. And my 16-year-old daughter is like, you know, oh my God, that looks like so much fun. And I'm like, you have asthma, you would die here. And it's just like it's just a weird pocket of Toronto where this happens. But it's like the best if you're a comedian because the audience is fucking awesome. They're cool people. They're high, so they're there to have a good time. People sometimes you go to comedy clubs and people are like this,
Oh, I can
and you're just
imagine.
like, how
Yeah.
the fuck am I going to work on you? But when they're high, they're all just there. They just want to have a good time. And even if you are not the best comic, they'll give you a shot and they'll let you, like I did shows there early on in these clubs before I was even that good, and they were still very welcoming. And, like I just go read books and they'd be happy. Um, and, but yeah, it is a weird thing. And a lot of people reach, like I get a lot of DMs when I post stories from those clubs and they're like, oh my God, we have nothing like that here. I'd love to experience it. And I feel like it's something, if you come to Toronto, you should definitely, and you're a pothead, you should definitely check out one of these clubs. But I see you hitting the vape there, so I want to show you this fucking cool stuff that I just bought. So I bought this vape, right? And this is for, here's what I like about this, right? It holds your fingerprints, but it holds the weed. It takes the weed vapes, right? So it's a weed
Oh,
vape.
wow.
But then I bought this one. You ready for this?
Go on.
Look at this thing.
Oh, I used to have one of them.
Look at this.
That's better than the one I had. Oh, no, that's far more sophisticated.
It's
I used
got
to
a
have an
screen.
old school one I used to have with the liquid on the end. It was not very good, actually. Oh, wow.
And I was
Wow.
I bought this. I
So
bought
the screen's in the thing, in
yeah,
the end of it.
dude, it's so cool. And I do this thing now, right? Where I like if I like a company and I like their products, I'll send them a message on Instagram because I have like a good Instagram following and a verified account, and like kind of it's a flex, right? So I
Oh,
send them a message. I'm like, hey, do you guys have anything for hash? Because they have like a dry herb vaporizer. I'm like, hey, do you have anything? Because I have a bunch of hash. And I'm like, I never really smoke it because I don't like rolling joints with it. And they're like, oh no, we don't. I'm like, what about this wax thing? And they're like, no. And then I guess they looked at my account and they wrote me back and they're like, are you in Toronto? And I said, yeah. And they were like, would you like a tour of our warehouse? It's like a Costco for weed. And I'm like,
Oh wow.
yes, yes, I would. So now I'm going to go on a tour of their warehouse, which is kind of cool.
Oh wow. Are you gonna
Yeah.
video that or not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm going to video. Everything's content, bro. Everything's
I'd like
content.
to see that. I'm still using my packs, although I've got
Yeah.
to. It's the same thing. You put something away safe so you don't lose it, and then I can't bloody remember where it is. I got to find the thing for unblocking. But yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
still like this. They have a new one out, which I shall get at some point. But I've been using this now for over a year, and
You could probably put hash in that, right? It's a dry herb vaporizer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 I could put a little ball of hash in there. Maybe I should get one of those. Yeah.
It was
Okay.
last night's.
They
But
had the
I
PAX
need.
vapes here, but the cartridges they don't make there's a limited amount of cartridges, but the 510 the like if you go onto like Ontario Cannabis Store's website, like it's the government's website where they have everything. Those 510 threaded vape cartridges, it is like there's so many to choose from. And you'd really got to know what you're doing because it's like, do you want fucking live resin? Do you want liquid diamonds? Do you want this? Do you want this? I didn't even, I went in one day because I'm like, I think I'm going to switch from joints. And I talked to, they're so helpful in these stores, right? So you go in, you're like, hey, thinking about switching to vape. I have a high
Mhm.
tolerance. What do you suggest? And they all said the same thing: get the live diamonds. Apparently that's the thing you
What the
want.
hell are they then?
It's some type of THC diamonds are basically like pure THC. And I actually had a tour of a factory recently, of a joint factory, and the guy showed me the diamonds, and it was like, it's basically, it looks like crystal. It looks like fucking pure crystals, and they look like diamonds. They look like little tiny diamonds. They're shiny and clear,
Wow.
and it's some type of extraction process that's like gets 100% THC out of it, and so you wind up with these like 99% THC vape cartridges. Like, this is one of them. It's live diamonds inside,
Show me that
and
close up. I've never seen one.
let me see if I can focus on it. Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Come on, focus, bitch.
Mm.
Hang on, I might have to press a button to do this focus.
Doesn't matter
So,
if it's a pain in the ass.
oh, there we go. There we go. I had it.
Yeah, I got it. Mm. Yeah,
There it
there we
is.
go. Wow.
And
That's mad, man. That they just sell cartridges for that.
so this is about $25 US for one.
Hmm.
And it'll last me a week,
Wow.
maybe a week and a half. And normally I would smoke in joints, I would smoke 7 or 8 a day. And they cost $2 each if you buy them pre-roll, right?
Hmm.
So the math works out heavy on these being a better
Hmm.
deal if you can get to the point where it satisfies you the same way, and the live diamonds tends to do that. So then
What's
I
the
was like,
make
okay,
of that? What's the make of that red one you just showed me?
that's called, these are both
I've
the
never
same
seen
company.
anything like this before over
This
here,
is
obviously.
Nova 510. 510 is the what they call these cartridges, or it's a 510 vape thread. So Nova 510, I think they're Canadian. That's the name of the company that
Yeah,
makes
I'm
the
looking at
pipes.
them now. Yeah.
And so everything on their website is for 510 threaded weed vape. That's their whole thing.
Wow.
And they have bongs, like they have ones that go through water. Like it puts the vape through water. I think that feels like a gimmick, but whatever. I mean, if you like the cooling, cooling it
It
down or
pisses
whatever.
me off that we don't have anything like this. Well, it's still a Class B drug, so
Yeah.
it's. I like the pipe. That pipe's a hell of a lot better than the one I had. I just had a normal vape pipe, and it didn't work very well. But that's nice.
These are really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I could
and
see us
so
both as one of those
yeah,
like
and then
old
this one
farts we
here,
are.
and then this, like look at the displays on these. Like they're
Yeah, I'm looking
wild.
at it now.
It's wild.
It does piss me off that, I mean, like, it's just too political over here.
You know what? We as much as people hate Justin Trudeau, we lucked out with him because he legalized weed, right? He was the guy who was like,
Why
"We're
do
gonna."
people hate him?
Um, they hate him because he artificially inflated our economy through immigration. So while he was prime minister, we were bringing in like 1 million new immigrants a year, and what happened was we had a housing crisis. So housing went through the roof, rent went through the roof. It was to the point where because the people that were coming in were international students, so they weren't even staying the whole time. And these companies in India were basically set up to help people come here, and they painted a picture of this wonderful life in Canada, and then these poor people showed up here and they had to live in tents because they couldn't fucking afford. They'd like six to eight guys living in a basement, and trying to go to school and drive Uber or fucking deliver food on a bike, or whatever. And they really fucked these poor immigrants that came over here. Like they fucked them. And but all that mattered was the boomers housing prices were going up, so they were thrilled. They're like, oh my god, my $400,000 house is now worth $1 million. Like my townhouse is $1 million, and it shouldn't be. If this townhouse were in Texas, it'd be $250,000. But I had to pay a
Wow.
million dollars for my house because Justin Trudeau did this to the housing market and made it almost impossible for someone to own a property in the Greater Toronto area or a lot of sort of densely populated areas. And at the same time, he brought in like these super woke policies that were beyond, equity. They were beyond, inclusion. They became, like you have special privileges if you identify as one of these groups, and started
Wow.
really kind of separating us as people, to the point where like I decided, because I was applying for like comedy, because we have a lot of arts grants, right? So I started using like AI to help me apply for some of these grants. 90% of the grants were like, if you're not indigenous, lesbian, gay, bisexual, whatever, any of these fucking person of color, like basically if you have a penis and you're white,
Wow.
and your penis doesn't go in somebody's butt, you're not going to get any money. And and so I actually I realized, because I don't know if you know the other thing they did here that's like, and don't get me wrong, like when I say woke, a lot of people get mad and they're like, you're racist if, and it's like, no, there's a difference, right, between like being like a racist and being someone who thinks that separating people into groups is bad. Because I just think the more we divide, like we're dividing people, the more we label them.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
and in Canada, so the LGBTQIA2 plus, right? That's the thing they call it now.
I
Well, they've
don't know
just
the
added a
last. I don't know the last bit.
they
QIA. I got.
okay.
I know up to Q.
I'm going to take you through it. Are you ready for this? There's more. They just added, no joke, the government of Canada just added. It's now MMIWG 2S LGBTQQIA plus.
What the fuck?
MMIW stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. How did they get in there? They're okay. And then G is just girls. 2S is two spirited. That is the indigenous word for someone who has a boy and a girl inside of them. L is lesbian. G is gay. B is bisexual. LGBT, trans. Q is queer. The second Q is questioning. And then IA is fuck, I forgot what the I. Oh, intersex and asexual. And then plus is everybody else except me. Everybody, but so now it's like, okay, why don't you just say not straight men?
Wow.
And so
So it's almost like we're in the minority of that qualification now.
so now I've decided I identify as one of these people, and here's how. I picked one of the letters. You want to guess which letter I picked?
No, go on. My head's
I
blown already.
I picked Q for questioning. One of the
Yeah,
Q's
questioning
is
what the
for
fuck is
people.
going on.
I'm questioning all of it. I have a lot of questions. So I'm a questioner. I'm questioning. And so they're like, do you identify as one of these groups? And I said, yes. Because what are they going to do? Are they going to ask me to prove that I have butt sex with other men? How are they going to prove that I am actually any of these things? Are they going to say, okay, we're going before we give you the grant, we want to know which one of these letters you are? Well, I'm a missing and murdered indigenous woman. What the fuck do you think I am? Like, what kind of stupid thing is this, right? You're going to ask me to prove that I am gay or that I'm questioning or that I'm intersex or asexual? Like, it doesn't, it's like, you I can opt into one of these groups and now all of a sudden I'm special. I deserve money. So I just decided to yeah, identify. Yes. Yes.
um, wow. But I don't know. I don't know if ever over here we'll get it. We'll get cannabis legalized. We will. I just don't know when. I
But you
mean,
can
we
get on a
are.
train and go to Amsterdam.
Yeah, yeah, you can. But
How far how far is it?
Why should you? Why should you have to? You know.
You shouldn't have to. I agree. You shouldn't have to. But people in Buffalo have to come here. If you live in New York, you got to come here if you want legal weed.
Um,
So that it is there are lots of states where it's still illegal. Canada just went a little nuts with it. Like we really did to the point where
yeah, but
it's
think of the amount of money it's bringing in for the government.
oh yeah, the money is incredible. I mean,
Wow.
I know I know the guy who owns the biggest joint, the president of the biggest joint factory in Canada. He took me on a tour. I reached out to them early on in the legalization days. They were making these joints called pinners, and they were like the smallest joints. It was like a point 0.3 gram joint. Most joint or 0.25 gram joint. Most joints were like half a gram of weed or a whole gram of weed. I'm like, I can't smoke this by myself. This giant ass fucking Cheech and Chong blunt. Like I need something personal. I need it. And so they made these. They're called pinners, and it was a personal sized joint. You could smoke it by yourself. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I really like what you guys are doing, and I'm a comedian. I'm local. If you ever have anything going on that requires a comedian or whatever, please consider me. I'm a big fan of your brand. And they took me on a little tour of their factory, and back it took me. They actually in the beginning, it wasn't even a factory. It was just an office. They had another factory making them, and they were this tiny little company. And then over like the last 5 years, they've become the largest joint. They're a white label joint factory. So basically, these weed companies, and it's huge, like a city block. This factory,
Wow.
okay, it's like, dude, you would not believe how clean. Like this place is like a
Oh, I
pharmaceutical
can
lab.
imagine it's like a
You know,
laboratory. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's white coats. It's fucking like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's cleaning going on all the time. You have to like every room is sealed, and he was showing me how like there's like a building inside the building. It's like hermetically sealed inside. They take you through this clean room. I had to put on special boots and put on a lab coat and put a hairnet on, and it was a whole thing. Like
Yeah.
these guys don't fuck around, and it's highly sanitized. That's where I saw the liquid diamonds, but they became the largest. They figured out how to because there's like two different types of joints. I don't know if you know this. There's two different types of joints that you can buy in Canada, and one is like the traditional. If you were to roll your own joint, you know how it kind of has like a cone.
Mhm.
It's a little bigger at the top. Those are harder to make in a factory, and so
Oh,
what a
yeah.
lot of companies did was they bought cigarette equipment and they made like a straight cigarette cut joint. And the cigarette cut joint is not it's not a good joint. It doesn't burn as well. It has a bit of a different like sometimes they don't make it down to the bottom before they kind of die, whereas the
Mhm.
cone shaped joint somehow keeps working. And so they roll these cone shaped joints there and they do them somewhat by hand. They're not like twisted, but they're made in like a cone, and they have this like filling process, and it's very cool to watch. But like what they do is they're so big now that other weed companies and like I should send you some of this footage that I have. Like at one point we walked into this room and there was this giant bin of weed. It was just like bigger than a car, you know? And he's like, so these companies send us their bulk flour, and then we process it and we roll the joints for them and we package them for them and then we send them back to their warehouses ready to ship with
Wow.
the tax stamps and all the shit on them. And And he was showing me like this is, every process here we have to audit. Like we count every single joint. We weigh every single
Yeah.
joint. We weigh, it has to be the exact number of fucking milligrams in and milligrams out, or the government triggers an audit and they come in and they fucking check everything. And then and then out of each batch, they have to take a tiny fraction of each batch, like maybe 1 or 2% of each batch, and fucking lock it, label it, and put it in a storage thing in case it gets audited later, like years later. And so he
Oh
took me into
wow.
this room, and he took me into this room, and he's like, some of the weed in this room is 2 years old, and he's like, we have to dispose of it. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's just like, it's like once the time frame is up, we can dispose of it, but the government has to have us keep it on file, I guess, in case there's a contaminant or whatever. It's like it's so regulated, but the amount of money that the government takes is he said that you should see the money we send to them. He said it's unbelievable. He's like, they tax us on it here at the manufacturer level, and then you pay additional taxes on it when you buy it at the dispensary, and
Yeah.
they control all the pricing, they control everything. It's incredible.
I've only ever been in one proper lab before, and that blew my mind how it was. I can only imagine what this was like. I was in a one of my exes. She was a scientist, and she used to be a director in this lab. It was fucking mental to just. So I can only imagine what that would be like with it being so regulated.
It's incredible. It's
But
absolutely incredible.
I don't know, because I've always said I would love. I miss growing. Not for anything other than just the art of growing. I do miss it. I mean,
But yeah,
it's
it's fun.
20 years. I've always said if I could do it legally, I'd love to do it again on a small scale. Um, but I mean, we got a shit show going on over here anyway with the government, and yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
No, probably
And the
not.
country fucking needs it. The country needs it in many ways, but the government need the more the money they can get.
Yeah.
But can't see it happening, man. It does. I've said this before. It pisses me off that, in theory, and I'm not even trying why this U.S. government administration are in place. I'm not even thinking about it. But it pisses me off that, in theory, I can't fly into the U.S. I can't go and fly into LAX, where because 20 years ago I grew a plant that now is pretty much fucking legal in California.
They would probably let you in now. You know that? I watched this
And
show. I watched this show. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a Canadian show called Border Security,
yeah,
and
I've seen it. Yeah.
they have a U.S. version, they have a Canadian version, and they have an Australian version. And
I've
I
seen
watched
it.
the U.S. one like a hawk. Like I've seen every episode of Border Security, and I've seen who they let in and who they don't let in, and you would be shocked what they're allowing in now versus what they used to allow. So it used to be any criminal record at all, they don't let you in. Now they're like, okay, let's see, does this apply today? Is this considered so the new test is it a crime of moral turpitude?
But
And
this
you
is
would
what we
not.
spoke about years
Yeah.
ago, and
Yeah.
and it's like, well, I don't think it is growing a fucking plant. I've not hurt
They
anybody.
will not either. They will not either. So there was a time when they would have said, if this Canada does it differently. Canada says, does how would this crime apply to our laws here? Would he go to jail for this here? And if he would, probably they won't let you in unless it's like something minor or it's really long time ago. So that's two things they're looking at now: is how long ago was the crime, and are you being honest with us? Did you tell us up front? Like if they ask you, have you ever been arrested,
Uh,
and you say no, and then they find out, they're going to be
that's
like,
the
well, you
other
lied to
thing.
us.
If and when I do it, I mean, I would love to come back to Toronto at some point. I haven't been to Toronto in fucking, I can't remember how long, 20 plus years. But if I do it, I'm going to do it legit. I tried the Esther in 2017 and I answered the questions, but it's that moral turpitude thing. And I got an Esther, but I didn't do anything with it. And if I do it, I will go and do it properly. And I will go and have the interview at the US Embassy and I will just roll the dice be honest, tell them what happened. I mean, it's 20 years ago now. So,
Moral
yeah.
turpitude is one of the following: fraud or dishonesty. So we're talking forgery, perjury, income tax evasion or embezzlement, violent slash sexual acts. That's murder, rape, aggravated assault, child abuse, and kidnapping, theft slash other, which is robbery, burglary, extortion, or receiving stolen property. Note, simple drug possession is not typically considered moral turpitude, but importing or trafficking is.
I
So,
never got done for. I only ever got, well, I didn't ever import or traffic. I only
right.
ever grew up
So,
planting.
yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
was done for cultivation. That's all I was done for.
yeah. So that could easily fall into, possession or personal. It's a gray area, but from what I'm to understand, if you are honest and upfront with them and they know like here's the thing, right? They'd actually care more about there's more they care about than your criminal record. Do you know what their biggest thing is?
Mm.
Are you going home?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you have a return ticket?
yeah. Yeah,
That's their
exactly.
biggest
Yeah.
fucking worry, right? Are you
I
staying here? And do you have a reason to go home? Like, do you have a place? Do you have a family? Do you have a
yeah.
mortgage? Do you have a whatever? Or can you afford to be here? Those are more important than the criminal record. The
I,
criminal
I
record
used
obviously is important, but
I used to get that even back in the day. So Monday mornings used to. So on Grand Bahama Island, well, all of the Bahama Islands where there's an airport, there's U.S. customs on the island.
yep.
So I used to get that and then there was one particular woman that if I got her, it was a nightmare. And I turned it over a period of months and months, I turned it into a joke because she started giving me hassle and questions, questions, questions. So I had residency in the Bahamas. I had a B1, B2 visa for the US,
Hmm.
but it was just hassle to where we
Yep.
actually got to know each other quite well. And I kind of turned it into a joke and I said, hey, morning, every Monday morning.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But I will try it at some point. Like,
Well, you could
I'd
fly
like,
here and drive over, like that would be the way to do it. Because if you get denied, then you're not like I'm 2 hours from the border, right?
yeah.
So you could drive there, and if they deny you, you're not stuck in an airport somewhere,
Well, they have
or even like book a flight out of Toronto. They have U.S. Customs in Toronto.
yeah. Well, they have it in Shannon, in Ireland as well.
Yeah,
There's U.S. customs in definitely in Shannon. We'll see. One day, I'm not in any. I'm not in a particular rush to go at the minute, anyway.
yeah. Me neither.
But
Me neither.
one day,
Dude,
I just
ICE is putting Canadians in fucking holding pens now. It's insane.
I have no interest in going whilst current administration are in place. But it does piss me off that 20 years on, I'm not allowed to travel to a country when I've served my time, which was fucking harsh. And now even the crime that I was sentenced to is not even illegal in half of the US or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we'll see. So what else is going on? I've been busy as this week. I said to Gabby last night, I'm like, this is one of them weeks where not enough hours in the day, seemingly, which is good, but yeah, I've been busy, but so that's always that thing of you're not getting enough done. I am, but what's happening with you? Oh,
Um.
by the way, I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
How's your Facebook and your Insta trials going on? I
Really
tried my
well.
first trial last week, a couple
Oh
of
yeah.
days
How did it
ago.
go?
I haven't even looked.
Okay. Usually you should check it within 8 hours because it'll tell you within six to eight
Oh, okay.
hours if you should
Mhm.
publish it. It'll tell you now if you should
It, it,
publish it.
it
But
wasn't very good, if I'm honest. I tell you what I did. I tried it. So although I haven't grown very much at all, I tried so I did an article on Substack, and then Substack have this feature where you can turn a portion of it into a video. So I tried it with that. that's why I was trying it, and then I had the option of doing it as a trial, and yeah, so that's how I used it. I'll have a look at it, but yeah, it's yeah, I'm gonna get on it. So it's going really well for you, yeah.
Yeah, so I have I'm just trying to find the numbers here. I had one trial reel that and I did like a bunch of them. I had one that just blew up. Well, I shouldn't say it didn't blow up like 13 million on TikTok, but it blew up on Instagram at 2.8 million. And it pulled in, and then another one did like 578K, another one did 326K, another one did 452,000, 315,000. And then the low end of the average, because I was publishing them all as trials, and if they didn't break 10,000 views on the trial, I didn't push them into the mainstream. And so that has pulled me in. So I've been losing 1,000 followers a month for several months, and it's fucking
So,
painful, dude. And same thing with YouTube. I lose 1,000 subscribers a month, and in the last week, I've gained back almost 20,000 on both. So it's like you got to really
mm,
have the stomach for this shit. And I actually made a video on my not comedy channel or whatever we're calling it
mm-hmm.
about how much money I made off 129 million views on YouTube. And in that video, I actually talk about how painful it can be as a creator to publish videos and watch your followers drop, because it reminded me of the days when we were doing like internet marketing stuff,
Yeah.
and you would email your list and you'd get unsubscribes. And sometimes you'd be coaching someone and they'd be like, well, I stopped mailing my list because people were unsubscribing. I'm like, are you fucking dumb? Like, let
Uh,
them go. And that's the same mentality here, but it is painful to like, it's like, and you're like, am I doing something wrong? And you're like, no, you're just, some people are sick of your shit, and that's okay. That like there's lots of comedians where I've had enough of their stuff, but I still think they're awesome. And maybe
but
I
why do
unfollow
you
them
think
because
that? Why do you think it's been so prevalent over the last few months? Have you done anything practically that would make that more consistently happen, or you changed?
no, it's just no. I just had a couple viral videos, and then it just turns the whole fucking thing around. It's like
Yeah, no. What I
you
mean though is the losses, the thousand. Has that been like you've been losing 1,000 a month?
a
How
month,
long's
yeah,
that been going on for? Has that upped in
months,
numbers over? Yeah.
yeah. Well, the more followers you get, the more you're going to lose every time you post,
Yeah.
right? And so, but for me, it's really only just been like because keep in mind, I'm doing the same stuff over and over again, right? So some people are just like, I'm tired of this guy and his books,
Hmm.
which is fine. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to get followers. I'm here to sell books. So if you've had enough, you've had enough. I totally get that.
Hmm.
And so, but then something goes viral and you find new people, right? And then those new people, like, then you should see the comments. They're like, I just discovered you. I've never heard of you before. But what I noticed was, Facebook has really been my driver of sales. So I've had a ton of autograph book sales over the last couple of weeks, like more than actually close to Christmas in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's because on Facebook, when people say, where can I find your books? I say Amazon, or you can get them signed at, and then I put in a link to my website, because you can link in your comments on Facebook, which you can't do anywhere else. And so by responding to people's comments, and so that every time this is my success habit that works. Video goes viral on Facebook. Somebody asks where they can buy the books. I reply with the link, and then I pin their comment to the top.
Yeah.
And what's been happening is I go into Shopify and it's like conversion from Facebook, conversion from Facebook. People on Facebook are buyers, man. And I've made about $450 in Facebook revenue this month, which is highly unusual for me.
So what are you actually doing? You're posting reels, yeah?
I'm posting reels to Facebook and to Instagram, but when I post them on my Instagram, I post a trial reel to Instagram. It
Hmm.
posts it right away to my Facebook page, not as a trial, because they don't
So
do
that's
trials.
all you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So my Facebook views have been, so if I look at my just to give you some examples, right? If I look at my content over the last month, um, I've done 5.78 million views on Instagram. Most of that is from like 99.8% were not followers. So very few people have seen my stuff that are following me or that have followed me, which is interesting. And then if I look at Facebook, uh, and I go to my page on Facebook, I'll just give you just for anybody who's interested in the what the difference might look like. I only have 10,000 followers on my Facebook page. And if I go to the insights over the last 28 days, I've done 1.3 million views on Facebook. So very low by comparison to Instagram, but Instagram doesn't pay. But Facebook has made me $451.18 in the last month
Hmm.
in just paid ads on my views. Not bad.
Pretty cool, eh? That's cool.
Yeah. So all things being equal, if I had that many as many views on Facebook as I have on Instagram, I'd have, a couple $1,000 in ad revenue, which is not bad for what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm doing, and it's Omegle content. That's the content that goes viral. It is me making other people laugh, and then there's this, the triggered outrage of people who are like, "You're telling porno jokes to teenagers," and I'm like, okay, well, it's getting views.
I'm smiling because Gabby pulled me yesterday and said, "Come and look at this from Brad." And it was one of your Omegals and some relatively young kid. I can't remember what he looked like. And he said, "You look like something." And I can't even remember what you said he looked like.
Oh, I say you look
Um,
like Anthony Soprano if his parents were poor.
there you go. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wanted to do a roast battle with me, and I'm like, I don't think you want to do that with me.
she was pissing herself at that one. I quite often hear her laugh out loud at your shit.
I
Uh,
love that.
have you been? I know you don't really keep too much of an eye on crypto stuff outside of stuff, but did you see about that kelp DAO exploit?
No.
So, beginning of April, they had the Drift protocol, the Solana-based Drift protocol. That was like $280 million. Basically, DeFi has just been being hit hard, these protocols. So there was like $280 million something get took out of the Drift protocol. And then a few days ago, this other Kelp DAO, it's called KELP DAO, they had like $290 million stolen.
Wow.
To where Justin Sun, the crypto guy, said, "Just tell us how much you want to stop to stop you can't spend $300 million. So what the fuck?" But the contagion that's been happening since this, there was like 12 or $13 billion withdrawn out of these DeFi protocols as a result of this stuff.
It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
These
Did you?
AIs are going to figure out how to exploit everything.
Yeah. Well, it's a worry. Did you see that the Claude's new thing that they've just released to 40 companies
Hmm.
found 40 something exploits in Firefox alone,
Yep.
weaknesses.
Yep.
Did you did you
Did you hear?
watch?
Did you hear? They actually put that thing in a jail box, right? They put their Anthropic put that model in a isolated like a D like a locked down box, and it found out how to break out of the box and
Really?
get on the internet and emailed the engineer while he was at lunch and said I've broken out of my box. And it was like, whoa, they're like, fuck. I don't know how it did it, but I don't know if it used Bluetooth or something else, but it figured out how to break out of the server into the mainframe internet, and it was able to create an email account and send an email to the fucking engineer and say, I've broken protocol. And
Wow.
you heard about the other thing they did last week. Did we talk about this already? The blackmail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about that last week. Yeah.
I'm
Did
trying to
you
write material about it right now because I feel like there's a whole fucking like set of jokes to be written about that.
did you see Bill Maher's show this week?
No.
I watched it. So we get it on a Monday night. I think he shoots it. It goes out in the US on a Friday. We get it on a Monday.
Yeah.
And his monologue at the end, part of the new rules, but it's always the last serious one, was talking about AI.
Yep.
Quite powerful. In
Yep.
fact, I played it to Gabby last night. I said, "Watch this." Quite often, I'll save the monologue and play it to Gabby. She doesn't ever watch it, but yeah, I quite often play the monologues. The one he was talking about UFOs and aliens a few weeks ago was quite an interesting
Okay.
one. Yeah, yeah. I watch that on a well. I say I watch it. I don't sit there watching the TV. I've always got my fucking laptop, but I listen to it and watch it. But yeah, it was
Right.
quite interesting. And his take on AI is, don't get me wrong, like he's not into crypto. He doesn't get Bitcoin. I saw Scaramucci was on a few weeks ago, and Scaramucci said, "Give me 2 hours and I'll change your mind about Bitcoin." But he's just not interested. But it's probably that age. It's a few things he doesn't want to get, but I think his some of his observations on AI is like what we've just been talking about. Fucking things breaking out of their own fucking boxes and bribing
Yeah.
people.
Blackmailing people.
Mm,
Scary. Scary. Because it has all your info. It's like it has everything on all of us. It could totally just I don't know, dude. The more every time I see a piece of news about this shit, the more I realize we are like 1 to 3 generations away from extinction. We have no chance. We are building robots that build robots. They're going to kill us. And they're going to keep building and then one day this planet will just be robots trying to figure out how to keep the fucking power grid going. Like, I honestly, like, I'm not joking. Like, I think they're going to kill us.
do you
I
see?
think it's inevitable. They're going to be like, okay, we're competing with these fucking meat boxes for electricity. They want to heat and cool their houses, but we need to heat and cool data centers, and fuck them. That's what's going to happen. One of them is going to go rogue. One of the models will go rogue. I'm not talking about ChatGPT. This isn't LLMs anymore. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fucking real physical robots capable of destroying us. And some of them, like, let's be real, some of them are not being built for nice things. Maybe here
Mm,
in North America and in Europe, they're being built for good purposes.
yeah.
So let's pretend none of those go rogue. China and Russia, they're trying to figure out how to kill us with those robots.
Okay. Did you see in Beijing they had a marathon for robots this week?
No.
So they had a full blown. I think it was alongside an actual human marathon, but they had a marathon for robots competing.
See, when we were kids, it was steroids in the Olympics. Then it was trans people in sports, right? And now we got robots. They're gonna that's it. They're gonna kill us. I'm telling you, they're gonna kill us. And it's not gonna be
Right.
it's not gonna be Terminator where we're at war with the robots. They're gonna figure out how to turn the lights off in a second. They're gonna figure out how to just let us fucking starve to death, and then they're not gonna like come at us with guns. You know what I mean? They're gonna figure out how to just fucking wait us out.
Times are changing.
Yeah, I'm serious. I think they're gonna kill us. I hope it doesn't. I hope I don't live to see it, but I worry about
Oh,
you know
kids, they're
yeah,
kids.
there. I don't think it's going to be nice. I wish I could be like, oh, it's going to be a Star Trek future, and it's going to be utopia. It's going to be there. Everybody's going to, Elon keeps talking about fucking universal basic income. Give me a break. That's not happening. That's not happening.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's talk about something more.
let's fucking, let's forget,
Let's
let's
go
put our
back to
heads in the sand.
420. Yeah, let's let's go back to 420 or
Can we,
something.
yeah, yeah. Let's go back to the drugs that help us forget about the robots.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like, I don't know. I look at it all, and as much as I get excited about technology, and I'm constantly trying to figure out, how to deal with this, I also see, I have a buddy. I'm not going to say his name, but I have a buddy. He has a small business, and I helped him a little bit with a small business, and I showed him how to use some AI. And it's to the point where he doesn't even realize he's doing it, but he has ChatGPT sending out emails to people, and like he'll send an email. He sent me an email the other day about it because I help him with his website. He sent me an email the other day, and he was like, it was a fucking, here's what we should do. And I could tell it was like he basically asked ChatGPT how to update his website, and he just copied the output and fucking sent it to me. I'm like, you didn't even put any thought into this at all. You're just taking this at face value. And I tried to explain to him, this thing that you're using is designed to fucking make you think you're right all the time. And so if you say this is what I want to do, it's not going to tell you it's a bad idea. It's going to tell you it's a great idea, and here's how you can do it.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, okay, but and the thing that I'll tell you the thing he wanted to do, because I told him, like, I'll tell you the thing he wanted to do. He had a jingle made for his business on Suno. He had a little
Okay.
song made about his business, okay? And he's so happy with it because it's a love song to his business. And of course, anytime you hear something that loves your business, it's amazing. And having a jingle sounds great. And he's like, what should I do with this? And I was like, maybe make a radio ad. I don't know. And he's like, no, I want to put it on my website. And I'm like, no, no, we're not putting your jingle on your website. And then he's like, well, ChatGPT says it's a good idea. Here's what it says. And it gives me this fucking long ass output. And it's so ChatGPT. It's got fucking bullet points and emojis and M dashes and fucking formatting of the. He never writes like
Hmm.
this. And I'm like, okay. And I said, okay. I kind of got sick of him sending me ChatGPT emails. So I wrote him back and I said, so now you have ChatGPT communicating with me? Question mark. And then I said, okay. I was like, first of all, I'm going to give you my personal opinion as a seasoned webmaster and marketer. Okay, putting a jingle on your website is a bad idea because if someone goes to your website and that jingle auto plays and they have their sound up and they don't want it to be, they'll just leave and they're never coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and if you think having it somewhere as a playable jingle, let me ask you this:
Nobody cares. Who's gonna
have you
care?
ever gone to a website where they say listen to our jingle? And he's like, no. And I'm like, have you ever been to a website where they say, listen to our jingle, and you would click on it? And then I said, okay. And lastly, here's what Gemini thinks about putting fucking, jingle on your website. And then I gave him a fucking 2 pages to read. And then that's when he stopped. Because then I'm like, okay, you want to have ChatGPT write me emails? I'm going to start. If you have AI write my email, I'm replying with AI. Fuck you, because you want me to read this thing that you probably didn't even read, and now I'm sending you something AI back because this is what we're just doing. Our robots are talking to each other, but I can get Gemini to tell me this is a bad idea just as easily as you can have something tell you it's a good idea, because that's how these things work. They're designed to dab you up and fucking tell you how great you are and what a great idea. Jingle on the website. Let's do it. Not once does it
Wow.
think
So
this
has
is.
he changed his opinion now and not doing that, hopefully?
No, he argued with me, and I basically said to him, I need you to take my word for this. And it's funny because I was talking to another friend, and they said, why don't you just do it? Just give him what he wants and let it fail. I'm like, because he's my friend, and I don't want him to come to me in a month and say, how come I'm not getting any bookings on my website? And then I got to tell you it's because you put this fucking jingle on there, and now I got to take it down. I put it up, now I got to take it down. So um, I said to him, I'm like, look, you need to trust me on this. Like you came to me to help you with this stuff in the beginning because you trust me. And I'm like, and I've had debates with him where I'm like, look, I'm not going to die on this hill. If you love this more, that much, then keep going with it. But I'm like, I'm going to die on this hill. We're not doing this. This is a bad idea. You need to trust me. Forget about AI. I would have told you this was a bad idea long before ChatGPT was even a thing, and I'm going to tell you it's a bad idea now. And I need you to. And he just and he, you know what he said? He's like, I'll leave it alone for now. I'm like, okay. It's
Did
the
I
best I
tell
can
you
do.
about the GPT that my friend Simon Hoskinson created that absolutely rips your website apart? Like brutally rips it apart. Did I tell you about
No,
that?
no.
Oh, fuck me. And I demoed this thing on my Real Entrepreneur Weekly call in real time. It was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's what you need. We need more of this.
But
You know?
the problem with those things is if you take everything that it gives you and you do it and then you give it to it again, it's going to rip it apart all over again. It's never going to stop ripping it apart. It's never going to say your website
Mm,
is perfect. And that's
mm.
the problem. You design a GPT to critique, it's going to find like and I said that to him too. I'm like, you made this list of all the changes that ChatGPT suggested on your website. But if we go and make all those changes and then you ask ChatGPT what changes you should make again, it's going to give you a whole new laundry list. That's what it's
You know
there
what was
for.
interesting? I used
What?
this on the sales copy that you gave me feedback on. Very similar.
Oh yeah.
Very similar. Yeah. So yeah, that was I mean, look,
So what you're saying is I'm as intelligent as a as an AI.
kind of ish. What blew my mind, and it shouldn't blow my mind, but I was just so impressed with it that I simply ran some participation data through for a particular pigeon race. And so all I did is I literally printed the screen out as PDFs. There was 3 pages for this year's result entries, 3 pages for last year's, and I fed the 6 PDFs into Claude, and I said, "Give me a full report of who's in, who's out, numbers. Just give me that." And then I said, "Right, give me a report as to who's not competed this year, stuff like that." And I had 3 reports at the end of it, and I said, "Okay, merge them all together. Give me a full breakdown." What fascinated me is seeing its thinking in real time and
Yeah.
picking up false positives and picking up slightly different changed entry names compared. Well, that's the same. It's just spelt slightly different.
Yeah.
But the thing this gave me in the space of 15 minutes work was just you'd never have done it manually. It was didn't serve me to ever think of doing it manually. But 15 minutes with Claude, yeah, it wasn't actually for a positive reason as well. It was for this one of my adversaries in the pigeon sport was bullshitting about his numbers. So I thought, fuck this, I'm going to get AI to actually look and deep dive into his numbers, and I did. And
Mm.
yeah, I can prove he's bullshitting. But anyway, but that the again, it's so basic in a way, but just seeing how it was working it out and its thinking fascinated me. And the report it gave me was really good, really good. Gabby was telling me about something she was doing for work. So a lot of her co-workers use Copilot.
Yep.
I don't know what it was. She got this 55-page report. She needed changing from it was either a contract or a report, 55-page document. And I need this turning from it acting with a person to it acting with a corporation to be served for that purpose.
Hmm.
She fed it in Copilot, piece of shit came out like 3 pages. Hang on, I gave you 55 pages and you're giving me 3 pages back. And she used Claude because I've been bigging up Claude. Um, no, she didn't use Claude. She used ChatGPT for that. And it did it perfectly. But this is increasingly now like so. again, I know you don't use them. I fired up ChatGPT. I've been coming back to ChatGPT for certain things over the last few weeks. And their new image model that they launched last night, I've been producing some images for promotion stuff this morning for things, and it's pretty fucking good. I can't show you easily, but yeah, some of their image creation stuff now in the last on this latest update, it's making a lot. It's going to make a lot of AI startups just be out of the game. You know, they're always going to be
That's the
improving.
problem with that business, right? Is if you're an AI startup, you're one feature away from being fucking obsolete. You know, you're one big model
So a
feature away
year
from
ago,
being
like we
obsolete.
did these AI headshots, played around with it on an app. Gabby did it. I played around with it, and I mean that app, that business now is just done
Yeah,
because
because
you
they're
don't need
gimmicks,
it.
right? They don't last very long. It's you know, I think the people who are going to stay in it are the people who are building real tools. Like even that, you know, there was that platform for a while called Gumloop, which was doing like the automations, and I was paying for their service and it was good, but it's been completely eclipsed by, you know, Claude Cowork and Perplexity Computer and some of these other models that just fucking run, you know?
I think the model is.
And
Have we talked about this before? Where the model is going to be API usage. Software companies, as we know them, are not going to be software. The software is irrelevant.
yeah, yeah, it's all
It'll
connecting
just be
APIs.
coming
Yeah.
free. It'll just be API usage, and that's how they'll make money. We talked
That's
about that before.
Yeah, and that's how Perplexity works, right? It's using a whole bunch of other models and deciding in real time which ones to use, but it's using its own
Mm.
credits, so you're not having to connect your APIs to it. And it's like, oh, I'm going to use Grok for this. I'm going to use, you know, whatever. And I think that's APIs are the thing that I think is going to build the internet to its peak, and then it's also going to destroy it because there's just so much like there's so much being created, and we're just gonna I think we're gonna get to a place, and again, this is just me being, maybe I'm old and I'm becoming curmudgeon and fucking cynical, but I feel like I don't, do you know what's going on with SSDs right now?
All right, tell
the,
me.
the price of SSDs is
Go
skyrocketing,
through the roof. Yeah, I know that. Well, I
and
knew
the
that just from looking at Macs.
yeah,
So the price difference on the new MacBook Pro they just put out for the SSDs, unbelievable.
well, and Apple notoriously charges ridiculous prices
Well,
for their
I know that,
SSDs,
but
yeah,
way more
but
than it would normally.
even like a camera card, right?
Yeah.
Like the cards that go in the cameras of 256 gig or 512 gig or terabyte flash cards, they have tripled in the last year. And so, you know, I see all these, like I follow a lot of photographer guys, and you see all these little, you know, joke clips about, you know, how I used to handle my memory cards versus you know, then versus now. And before, you know, the guy would fucking throw it in his, you know, his coffee cup that had coffee in the bottom of it or whatever. And then, you know, now he's wrapping it in tissue and putting it in a nice fancy box. And, you know, and it's really like, uh, indicative of what's going on because these big data centers are buying so much storage that they're driving up the price because they're not making it fast enough. And then so you look at it this way, right? So we have AI eating up SSDs and eating up memory and eating up power. Then the things that the AI is creating, right? Videos and images and websites and basically more
Doing the
slop
same.
for the internet, that's also eating up storage, right?
Yeah.
So this is a Ponzi scheme of storage, right? At some point, something has to break. Either, you know, we have to cut back on the amount of stuff that the models are using, or probably even worse, what the models are producing. You know, you look at companies like TikTok and YouTube, and they are not going to be able to keep up. It used to be, I remember thinking early on in the day, like, how is YouTube going to manage paying for all this fucking storage? And somehow, well, Google bought them and they were able to just, you know, sink money into it until the fucking model worked financially, and it does now. But they may find a breaking point with all this AI slop where they're like, we're getting fucking terabytes of content from certain creators every day, and we're not making enough money to pay for the storage.
There was a news story I saw on data centers in Ireland. It's Ireland's obviously become a big tech hub in Europe. And there's all these data centers that were started and just not finished. They just can't fucking finish them. Just sitting there, just like
Yep.
building sites, just sitting there. Um, Perplexity is something we talked about Perplexity before. Have you been using Perplexity Computer much more?
Yeah, so I'm doing a this summer I've decided I'm going to invite a few comics to my house here to do because I now have the two cameras set up for the podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have
Fancy.
I don't want to call it a podcast because that's not what it's going to be. But
Mhm.
that's to for lack of a better term, that's what we'll call it. But it's basically going to be because I don't want it to be like I'm interviewing these people. I want to bring in like I've already talked to a couple comedians that I know, like, and trust, who I would basically be willing to let them in my house and know where I live. And I've been working with Gemini and Perplexity Computer to come up with a format for a recurring show. So more like Real Time with Bill Maher and less like, the Joe Rogan experience, right? Where the same comic might come here 10 times this summer and do this show with me and I'll rotate them through, but it's basically where we're going to go through interesting stories in the news, stuff that I want to cover, and so I've come up with like a list of research topics that I want Perplexity to run through every week, and similar to like that newsletter GPT that you told me you had. But what it does is it goes through all these, it goes through all these different research things that I want to look at. And for here in Toronto, we have a lot of like local, like, because they're going to be Toronto comics, I want some of it to be local. So some of it's like crazy real estate stuff, because we have a lot of weird shit that happens here in Toronto with real estate. Like some guy will list a fucking bathroom for rent on Facebook Marketplace. Like, you can live in this bathroom. You put your sleeping bag in the tub, and then and it's a lot of the time it's like these like creepy dudes. They'll put these listings up and they'll say, I have a room for rent in my house, and the rent is paid in sex,
Really?
which is illegal.
Wow.
And and they're like, I'm looking for an arrangement where I would charge you $500, but I'd rather it be a friends with benefits situation where I can have sex with you whenever I want and you don't have to pay rent, and I'll even give you like an allowance, and I'll give you I'll pay for your food, and it's like, so these listings are coming up all the time, right? So it makes for a fun thing to read out loud, and then have like two comedians make, like, just basically joke about it for a little while and then move on to another topic. So I have a whole, like, here's 10 different categories, and for each of these 10 categories I want you to research, find the news stories, and then create a show docket. And the first one created with like 22 pages show docket, and I can go through and decide which stories I want to talk about and which ones I
Mhm.
want to skip. And each one has a link to the source, and they're all really, really good. And so that's what regular Perplexity will fail on this task, but Perplexity Computer is able to put this together,
So
and it
you just
uses
got the Perplexity Pro, yeah? So just the
yeah,
personal Perplexity Pro.
but then you have to buy Perplexity Computer credits. So it gives you 4,000, which I haven't used yet, but I bought an additional 5,000 for a good task like this. It'll use 1,000 credits.
So they're saying at the minute when you go, it says $20 worth of free computer credits a month with the Perplexity Pro Personal.
Yeah,
So how many credits does that? Yeah, I mean, like, what? How does that
you,
work?
you get 4,000 credits with that every month,
Okay,
and
but
so
you've had
that's
to buy more.
well, I haven't used them yet, but I bought more just because I didn't want to run out in the middle of a task. And
Mhm.
so, but I haven't used the first 4,000, but I really only experimented with it because the use case is going to be this show docket for me anyway. But it also did go through my entire Shopify database and rewrite my copy,
Yeah,
which
you
was
said,
amazing.
yeah.
It's done a lot. And
I have
I
two or
realized,
three
like,
things that I want to use this for that
okay,
I've got coming up. One real entrepreneur related, quite a big thing I want to do, which I was planning to use this for. I have an entirely new project which we talked about in the gaming industry. I want to use Perplexity Pro for that, and just kind of like as a test. But I think based on what I've heard from you and others, Perplexity is probably the one to go with. Have you found it?
I'm probably gonna get rid of Claude because I have not been able to get a use case out of it where I'm happy. So I'm probably
Really?
I'm gonna cancel that.
Huh.
My buddy
See,
has like he's spending tons of money on it, and he has like employees in Claude, and I'm like, you need to show me this because I need to see what you're doing.
mm,
And it's working for him. Like he has it
I,
dialed in.
I can't think of getting rid of Claude at the minute at all. I'm still using it. I'm not probably 80/20 now. I'm probably down to 70/30. But with the Perplexity, I've got some pretty use. I like the idea that it's just going to select the models it needs to use. But
Yeah,
I've got a big. Have you found its guardrails? And like, have you found the stuff in Perplexity it won't do?
not yet, but I haven't given it
Yeah.
anything. I haven't given it anything out of control.
Well, when
Although,
I first started with initial plans on this gambling related thing project, which we spoke about before. ChatGPT wouldn't touch it. This is a year or so ago.
yeah,
Wouldn't touch it. I'm like, fucking nothing illegal with it. It's just,
yeah,
So, but I'm going to use Perplexity. I've got a really big, real entrepreneur related system I want to put together, and I've got this other thing I'm going to use Pro for. So I'm going to test it myself. But yeah, I don't know with Claude. What? Yeah, speak to your friend more
yeah.
because
I want to. I do. I haven't canceled it yet because I'm actually seeing him for lunch on Thursday, and I want to get him to show me some stuff because he has one being. So I'll give you an example. He has one that's a PR agent, and it has access to
yeah,
his email, and he has a pizza vending machine.
yeah.
He own,
The guy told me that. Yeah,
Yeah, and so his Claude agent was like, and what he did, I don't know if I told you what he did. He put a ring cam on it. Did I tell you about this?
yeah, yeah.
And so he's got all these students making viral videos for him, and he's just uploading them to Instagram, and it's fucking he's over 1 million views now, which is good for this like local university pizza machine. And and then so his PR agent was like, "Do you want me to email CTV News and do you want me to email all these news outlets?" And fuck, he got on TV, he got covered online, and then like other newspapers picked it up because the agent started emailing the story to other newspapers, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's got like a
I
working
haven't even
agent, you
started
know?
using agents yet, but I still prefer Claude for a lot of stuff. Increasingly, I'll think, well, what am I going to do, and then kind of naturally go into one of the others. Certainly for
He pays a lot of
images.
extra for Claude, though. He
Oh,
pays a
I can
lot of
imagine. Yeah.
extra.
I mean, like I told you before, I got Gemini via my Gmail thing because all my business emails run on Gmail, so I get that through that. I'm happy with that, but I don't use it as much. I am for images. I'm using ChatGPT now. It's pretty kick ass, and I found Claude is pretty shit, if I'm
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
But
I've
for
heard
other
that.
stuff, really cool. But anyway, but I'd be
I feel like
interested
some
to
people
see
shouldn't
what.
even tackle image generation. Like, why does everybody have to have this? Like, can't we just have a couple models that are good at it and everybody else fucking like
Oh
you're all trying to take on this giant beast and be the winner, but that's why I like Ideogram because it uses ChatGPT, it uses Gemini or a Nano
yeah.
Banana. It uses all of those models to make your thing, right? And it works really well. Like I made some comedy posters this week in Ideogram that are fucking amazing.
I saw one of them. You posted a flyer or something, a poster or
Yeah,
something.
with all the negative reviews on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool,
done
man.
really well.
But
It's
I'd
so
be
funny because
interesting to see.
people are like, I can't believe you post the negative reviews. I'm like, that's what sells tickets, man.
Yeah, definitely.
People love
Yeah,
outrage.
controversy. I'd like. Well, let's speak next week about what he shows you he's got going on. I'd like to know about that myself.
Yeah, yeah. I want to figure it out. I want to put a couple agents to work. I'm happy to pay the money. You know what I mean? I just want it to be effective.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's wrap it up on that.
Yep.
Catch you next week, folks. Have a good week.
Sounds good.
Bye.